All right, cool.
Blessings and wholeness. Welcome, King.
Yes, my brethren.
Honorable Ras Logan. Appreciate your vibe and your wisdom.
Yes, Honorable Jesse Tree. Give thanks, man.
Just wanna, sort of introduce my brother Logan here. I met him in Hawaii last year, and he's of the same heart, living naturalistically, growing food, really at a high vibration. And I wanted to invite him on, to talk with my community about a number of things, starting with the microorganisms that basically are the fundamental basis of life as we understand them as a permaculturalist. And Logan's been utilizing a technique called Korean natural farming, which I'd really like to pick his brain about and explore using here in the desert, and maybe establishing some practice for future permaculturalists and gardeners, because I feel like, and I'll let Logan speak to this in a moment, but in my view as a permaculturalist, one of my teachers taught me we want to employ the smallest change for the greatest effect. And so us working at the level of the soil is actually way more profound than hitting it at any other level. So at that point, I want to turn it over to my brother Ras Logan for a minute and just tell us, if you will, a little bit about Korean natural farming and what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good points, brethren, for real. The microorganism is a often overlooked piece of the puzzle to the human web of life and to the web of life of the whole earth structure in general. The microorganism is really under attack by the Babylonian system, the Roman hierarchy system that we're presently dominating the world, has put the microbe as a villain for a reason, because the microbe is likened unto God. The microbe's likened unto our Savior, Yes. So of course they want to attack the Savior, and the microorganism's a great place to start. Without a healthy human microorganism biome inside and out, you are basically susceptible to any and every disease. Your main defense mode is been shut down. So they've systematically, through the food, through the environment, through the EMF, systematically tried to destroy our connection to the microorganism, the microbiome. And to a certain degree, in certain cities and certain areas, they've succeeded. And we see insanity on mass scale in certain landlocked cities and whatnot. And we see now with this whole hoopla with the pandemic vibration of the last stab at making a microbe the most sinister thing on the planet Earth. So there's part of my teachings at my school is there's a war on microbes, even though I don't like to dwell on the negative at all, but we do need to point out things so we know how to form solutions to them.
Absolutely.
And there's a, even though I don't like to use the term, it's a truth that's happening on the planet. There's a war on microorganisms, and that's going from farming, using chemical fertilizers, which actually acts as a direct inject to the plant and bypasses the microbial interaction that usually feeds and nourishes our agricultural systems, and also to the human being with the allopathic medicine model of bypassing the microbe and direct injecting things straight to the bloodstream, like in the form of a vaccine or a petroleum-based pharmaceutical. So just to set that foundation, we need to let people know this is a reality that we're facing, and no matter what fantasy bubble you want to live in and positivity you want to keep in your life, you do need to realize that these things are happening on the earth, and if we don't talk about them, then we can't create solutions for them. So it's not negative to talk about them, it's actually positive. So that's what we're doing here today.
Yes, sorry to interject, but I was hearing Chronix point out, these things are part of the truth. They're in the realm of truth. So there's beauty in that because, as you said, and we can, another adage one of my teachers would say is the problem is the solution. So this is where we're at. So sorry to interrupt.
No. I'll answer your first question too about creating natural farming. But that's right, though. What you just said is one of my elders taught me too, is that no fear should come from man, right? So back to Chronics is like, this is in the realm of truth, you know? This is in the realm of the created, in the reality realm. You could say in the realm of God if you want to, or whatever word you feel comfortable using there. And that's what we need to realize. And what the Hawaiian elder taught me was that no fear should come from man. So if man, he said, this is what the direct quote, if fear comes from man, then just throw it away.
Yeah.
He said, if fear comes from man, then fly him. He said, that's the pigeon, fly him. Just toss it out, right? So don't let any fear from another human control or dictate anything in your life. And then he continues with that quote to say, the only true fear comes from God or your creator or goddess or whatever you want to ascribe to. That's the only entity or vibration or energy that can give you any fear. So pay attention. When that fear comes, it's real. And that's only there for you to make a next move towards resilience and love, you know? So to answer your question about Korean natural farming, let me end this real quick. I had a phone call coming in, sorry. Are we back?
Yes, sir.
We good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, just had a phone call interrupt. But Korean natural farming is basically a principle that was brought forth by an elder named Master Cho, Han Yun Cho, and he's from Korea, and he's 80 plus years old now. And he brought forward to the world a method, a system, a complete full system of agriculture where you team with Mother Nature, you team with God, and you team up with microorganisms, in particular the indigenous microorganisms of your area, to then replicate those, grow them out, and multiply them, and then add them into your agricultural system to then further bring up the health and the resilience and the nutrient uptake, the overall wealth and vibration of the agricultural system to a pinnacle. So now we're not going to need to eat dead foods or take so many supplements because we can actually get those true nutrients from our food instead of pills and concentrates.
Yes, sir. And that's, part of our heart vibration that we share, is this love of growing, high quality food, gathering up, nature's abundance, and getting our own selves right with our own vessel and our own, higher power, so to speak. So that was another point I want to get into eventually here is, the whole subject of Rastafari and, the mystery. But, because I feel it's connected, actually, as you said, with the microbiome. And just to make a few points, that are on my mind that, come up is, as you said, the whole war in the first place that is taking place on microorganisms. That's, Monsanto, who created glyphosate or Roundup, was a weapons manufacturer before they were actually in agriculture. All the chemical industry was part of the weapons industry that was a remnant of World War II, and so these, vestiges stayed alive. Eisenhower warned us. He said, watch out for the military industrial complex. It's huge, it's powerful. And so this all just translated into our food system. And since then, we've had this rise in degenerative diseases, cancer and diabetes and heart disease, how this is all connected with our lifestyle and the microbiome and the way we conduct ourselves in the creation. I'm a Buddhist and a Taoist, but I also I feel a firm faith growing also in Rastafari and the principles, and it's been there for a long time, the understanding of a lifestyle of Untitled eating, of being a farmer and growing things and and being in connection, how that the word husband used to be connected to husbandry and, you know, the cultivation of life. And the one last point I wanted to point forth is like the genetic complexity of viruses, as you pointed out, fungi, mold, bacteria, and yeast, etc. These, compared to us, we have somewhere between 10 and 3,000 genes, or 30,000 genes, similar to like a fly or a flea, whereas some of these microorganisms and viruses have on the order of billions or even more of genes. The genetic complexity is what spawned, you know, the creation. It spawned, you know, the potential for higher organisms to arise. So, you know, just to, you know, kind of frame, you know, sort of the thoughts we're thinking about here, this has been a culture of death, literally coming out of the war machine that has become our food system. And so many people have been afflicted, you know, with illness. And now is time to get on the culture of life cultivation, and, you know, starting with the soil. So, you have any thoughts with respect to that, brother? Or...
Yeah, for sure. You made some really great points there, and number one, touching on the military-industrial complex. If you, I founded a school at the beginning of 2020, which was called the Haile Selassie Institute of Natural Farming and Higher Education. We have a YouTube channel. You can go check it out. It's called the Institute of Natural Farming. And in there, I have several videos that break down some of the subjects that you're touching on today. So I'll grab some of those facts from those videos and represent them here. Basically, you're 100% correct. The weapons, munitions manufacturing plants after World War II were turned into fertilizer plants. They just took the leftovers, the byproduct of bomb and munition making, and which was like ammonium nitrate, ammonium phosphate, you know, these kind of things. And they said, hey, let's sell these to farmers. And the funny part is, when you use these on your farm, the first round or maybe 2 rounds, you might get this crazy amount of growth and even maybe a bumper harvest, you know? So a lot of these farmers were tricked or duped into thinking that this works.
Ras Logan froze for a minute. He's up in the hills in Hawaii. Oh, here he goes.
You back?
Oh, yeah.
I got a little bush connection there, like I said. But anyway, they were duped into using these products, you know, and actually, if you do a little bit of research, you'll see that the smart farmers, the intelligent farmers, the wise farmers, all tried to deny using these things. They were actually forced, jailed, murdered, kidnapped into using these chemical products on their land. You can still go back to the Amish communities. You can still go back to places in Japan and Korea, and people are still farming like they did hundreds of years ago, way more successful than any farmer of today can with chemical fertilizers. So yeah, there's this element of basically these oil barons and these warmongers coming up with more ways to trap us into giving them our energy in the form of money. So that's what they did with the chemical farming and the war. You know, the war machine had to continue, so they just kept going with it. To touch on the viruses, yeast, bacterias, protozoas, fungi. The first video that we uploaded was actually a class all about this subject, and it was Have No Fear, understanding viruses, funguses, bacteria, etc. Because if we understand that we have viral loads in our body exceeding the thousands and millions already right now as we speak, how could we fear a virus coming into our body from the outside? You know, people need to really dive into germ theory versus terrain theory. They really have to study this and realize that Louis Pasteur was a political pawn. Louis Pasteur was a paid scientist, much like this guy, the Fauci, the Jaws, you know, the word Fauci in Italian means the jaws of the wolf. He's coming to bite you, you know? So we need to realize that Louis Pasteur was in the pocket of the ruling elite classes that had the political edge of the day. And if it wasn't for Louis Pasteur, we wouldn't have allopathic medicine. We wouldn't have Rockefeller medicine. We wouldn't have petroleum byproduct medicine. We wouldn't have vaccines. We wouldn't have the assignment of one microbe causing a disease. That's what these people think. They think that microbes cause diseases, when really, in fact, the microbes at the site of the disease trying to clean it up. But then they'll assume that that's what's causing the disease. And they know better, but they're going to try to play us as the fool and tell us that the microbe caused the disease. The microbe was at the site of the disease trying to clean it, is the reality.
And actually,
what we're,
sorry,
go ahead.
You know, just to make a further point of like, your body is actually composed of more than 90%, as he said, viruses, bacteria, fungi. You know, it's
we have somewhere in the ballpark of 3 to 10 times more non-human cells in and outside our body than we have human cells.
yes.
Okay, so we are essentially a walking petri dish for microbes. You could say the human is a microbial super aggregate. Let that one sink in for a little while. You could say every plant on this planet Earth is a microbial super aggregate. Let that one sink in for a minute and try to wrap your mind around that.
That's
so what I'm saying is microbes created humans and plants, so they had a place to live. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
So who is God? Who is God? You know, who, you know, so we need to relate these things. Another teaching that I give at my school is the Hawaiian word for God is akua. Okay. You want to know what the Hawaiian word for microorganism is? Take a guess.
Cool.
Right. It's akua. Right. Okay. Now, who's the creator, sustainer, and destroyer? You know, what is Vishnu and Brahma and what are these deities? Creator, sustainer, destroyer. What do you know? Any other elemental or living organism that is responsible for creating, sustaining, and destroying?
Microbes.
The microorganism. Bingo. Right. So we need to get the mind, and this is the mind of a natural farmer. We need to realize that these things are critical, and we need to plug back in and get rid of, unschool and relearn truth. You know, if it wasn't for viruses, I'm not going to harp on it too much longer, but if it wasn't for viruses, we would have no adaptation ability whatsoever.
It is our. It is.
Right. That's what I'm kind of getting to. We would have no evolution, if you believe that's a process. It can't happen without microorganisms, without viruses in particular, because they're the carriers of RNA and DNA. They transfer it from organism to organism, making you adapt to the climate, to the situation, to the new toxin, whatever might be present in that environment. So yeah, you know, we need to tap in and listen to our friends, you know, in this microbial universe that we walk on, talk on, breathe in every day.
Yes, and on the innerverse, you know, in our bodies, you know, there's the same thing where they're creating the serotonin, you know, and the dopamine transmit. You know, there's more connections in your gut than there are in your brain, and it's
right. So it'd serve the powers to be to have you super unhealthy and having those brain microbe connections not happening, right?
Yes.
So therefore you see why the food chain and the food supply and the fast food and the dead food and the conventionally farmed food is so pushed on a worldwide scale, because if you were eating good food with microbes and feeding your microbiome, you might just be intelligent.
Right. Yes, the intelligence, the wild intelligence from nature, being you embrace the microorganisms. One of my oldest friends calls it your spora. Like every time you give someone a hug, every time they're mass now, you know. But like this is our resilience. Your community is your immunity, and is your, that sense of unity, and the culture, to be cultured, we culture foods, we culture soil.
100.
And
Mm-hmm.
true culture, as human beings, I feel, as gardeners of the planet and gardeners of ourselves, to raise to a higher vibration, which kind
Right.
of tails into Rastafari a little bit, and the whole sense of like the mystery. That's such a big topic. I don't know if we even want to jump on it today, because I know I could talk with you for a long time on that one. But it's totally relevant, it's like just this whole thing of the oneness, the oneness vibration, even the verbiage of I and I, to bring into consciousness, a higher vibration with intention, through our speech and word sound power, our what we speak create is what we create. When we say things aloud, they really vibrate and become, so
True.
the tone and vibration of that is, that we can also create whatever we want, through our spell.
Truth.
And so,
Word, yeah.
yeah, I'll let you for a bit.
Just like, well, just touching on what you said, word, sound, and power, right? Word sound is power. Word sound has frequency. Music has frequency. Sounds have frequency. There's a study, there's a school of thought called cymatics, right? Where nowadays you got these guys taking these iron plates and putting like sand or liquid and then running a frequency through the iron plate. And what do you see? The sand and the liquid start to congeal and collect and show these patterns. And the patterns are sacred geometry. The patterns are the flower of life. The patterns are stars of David. The patterns are these same patterns that make up everything from the microorganism to the planet, So word, sound, and power, yeah, it's important to use the right word, sounds, and power. So the Rasta has taken it upon himself, being a slave here in Rome, to try to correct the speech of the Roman, the English. So we still might need to use these words because that's how we were raised, but we're going to correct them to have a positive connotation instead of a death connotation to them. So it is I and I. It's not me and you, because we don't want separation. We want oneness. We want to understand that I am you and you are me. There is no difference, So we use these words. We appreciate love. We don't appreciate hate, right? So these are just simple things that we can do in our daily life to bring positive affirmations, to correct word, sound, power, and at least make an attempt at what Babylon has done wrong.
And I think it's important, what Chronix and Priest Kailash were pointing out in that interview just they did yesterday, was this thing of how Rastaman knew about, the medical benefits of cannabis, for instance, and was talking about that, decades ago. They also knew the benefits of vegan diets, ITAL, they have this connection with meditation and original vibration and the occult understanding of the Bible, not just the bare minimum understanding of like the metaphor or the, sort of the, what's the other word for it? I'm at a loss. Whatever the case, there's the deeper understandings, that are there, and what's more, the acknowledgement of Haile Selassie, and the way as, what is he, the line of the tribe of Judah? So he's like in the descendant line, and the way, regardless of, his descendants or whatever, the man showed up in the world as a leader, actually a true leader would, putting forth peace, bringing his empress to the highest level, to his level, because he knows that it is, this realm of, we are the oneness, and man and woman, being this polarity that is for creation and is an equal, an equality. So, those recognitions of these things, that are just in Rasta culture, a naturalness, and something that you said on your in your channel on one of your presentations was, getting back to original thought, that, and that just rang a bell in my brain, and in my heart, of like, and you said, do you have an original thought? Are you just repeating things you heard, or do you have your own consciousness and your own heart, mind stream, in fullness? And if not, what can we do about that? And that culture of, also trying to be like the microorganisms, seeing that reflection, if they are a reflection of Rastafari or the Tao, or, the awakened consciousness, Buddha consciousness, whatever you want to call it, let's be a reflection of that. They work in consortium to help one another, that's more reflective of our true nature, being comprised of these things, so that oneness vibration is a truth. It's the actual scientific, researchable truth. And as Logan can tell you about KNF, there's demonstrable practice and truth. Same with permaculture, part of the same thing, that we can regrow land, and that the desertification of the planet is the #1 problem that we're facing as a species with respect to climate change, with respect to health and wellness, and this whole thing of us, that culture of Rastafari being upright, so, that's why I love you, man. I totally appreciate that you hold. It's like you've been on this for years. This man is has been a wayshower and a leader in his community, has really grown, the knowledge and wisdom and in his community. And that's that representation in my mind, like of that reflection with the microorganisms. So I want to respect your time today, brother. Do you have any more that you'd like to say or share, or
I mean, we could talk all day, you know what I mean? but yeah, truly, Rastafari is a metaphysical tool for your own enlightenment. You know what I mean? I feel that the powers, the Creator has left us certain keys, certain tools, certain keys to still navigate through this world, even though it's been usurped by these so-called powerful people, so yeah, we need to tap back into these realities that were left for us on the planet Earth from our ancestors, and we need to realize that our full potential as a human being, and Rastafari is just a vehicle to realize that full potential. And it talks about being natural man, being the man that the Creator made, and woman that the Creator made to walk this earth. And yeah, like you said, the desertification, that's 100% man-made. I'm convinced personally that there was never a desert on the planet Earth until man made one. That's what I'm convinced of. Of course, we had prairies and dry land, New Mexico plateaus, and but they had an ecosystem. It had life. It had microbial balance, and it had predators. It had prey animals. It had insects and birds. So that's what I'm convinced. And if you study Masanobu Fukuoka and read his book Sowing Seeds in the Desert, we have a prescription to actually restore fertility in deserts, to bring back rain shed into deserts. So what man broke, man can repair. What man tore apart from miseducation and bad leadership can also be repaired by positive education and good leadership. And that's all we need to do. We need to just stop paying attention to these fake, basically, lack of a better term, Satanists who have pure ego and pure, all they want is for themselves. They'll even sacrifice their own child. That's how sick these people are. And we need to realize that all they want is for themselves. You see these governors going on TV telling you to wear a mask, to stay inside, to not see your friends, to don't hug people. Fire, burn. Fire, burn these people. Truth needs to prevail. These people are sick, and we need to rise above. We need to research and have true intelligence for ourselves, And we need to stop being led astray by false leadership. And a way to do that is to cling to positive leadership. So Haile Selassie, as a leader, as someone we could read quotes from, someone that we can study and see his demeanor, that we can see symbology, like you said, crowning his empress and equality, breaking in 3,000 years of tradition. We need to look to these people for our leadership, and not to the so-called leaders, but real leaders if you're looking for leadership. And then you need to become a leader. That's the next piece of the puzzle. You got to do it. You need to be the leader in your community, in your household, and of yourself. Most people don't lead themselves, so they can't lead them households, and they can't lead their communities. That's where it starts. Self, what does it say? Know thyself, right? Know thyself. And that's a good message, you know what I mean? Because
So many people live
once you know thyself,
whole life, not knowing their own selves, all wrapped up in what's going on,
because they're led astray by these falsities of the world, of needing stature and money and things and items, and we've all been led astray by that archon known as greed and non-satisfied appetites for attention,
get into be in real connection and real unity, that thing of, I know you've experienced it. When you grow your own food, there's some, you get this sense of sovereignty that comes over you, and sovereignty over all things. That's why they attack the soil. That's why they attack our microorganisms. That's why they attack money. It's the root chakra. If this can't flow, you can't get into your heart and love. You can't get into your, crown consciousness as a royal, natural human being. And we're all cosmic kings and queens. We're all Haile Selassie and Empress.
Yes, truly. And that's, what do you think? Why do they think they keep people in poverty? Is the reason you just said. Why do you think they keep people in base consciousness, root chakra consciousness? Sex rules everything. Money rules everything. Because they know if they keep you there, they got you right where they want you. You're just one of their slaves. You know what I mean? So it's time for us to buck the slavery system. If the slavery system is done, this whole monetary, what they call Admiralty banking, or British banking system, or British slavery system, Roman monetary systems. This thing, man, things built on without a foundation are bound to fall at some point. So we have to watch this fall. And when I say that, don't get it confused with controlled demolitions either. Don't get it confused with these powers to be destroying themselves to rise up stronger. Please don't confuse that, because I see a lot of that going on in the world right now, especially with these heavily funded and heavily politicized protest movements. We got to stop this. We can't join in to some other human being's political agenda and then let them use our power of wanting equality, equal rights, and justice to fuel their agenda. We need to be wiser than that. We can't fall for just the TV thing and what they told us on TV. It's time to be wiser. We need to go, look to brethren like Jesse, and look to people that are actually doing works on the ground. Not people that are making up fanciful things and telling you this and that, but actual human beings that do works, because there's answers out there, man. And we're making solutions as a collective, and we're doing it. So yeah, don't be led astray by these false politicized movements. The movement's in here. You make this movement first, and you'll see. Seek Jah first, and everything else shall be added. Is the quote?
Here, brother. Yeah. Bless that. That's totally the vibration. I'm really glad you came to share that, because so many people are living in fear, and we have this opportunity to live in fear or in love. When you leave this world, are you going to regret having lived in fear, having cowered down, or are you going to rise and be a leader, and we can do it in ways that don't have to be confrontational. We can do things like the really radical act of growing food and, you know, nourishing land and nourishing literally with food and herbs, nourishing ourselves and our communities. And that's direct action you can do. And, you know, the more of us,
Lifestyle,
the more,
lifestyle. Sorry to cut you off, Brethren, but the lifestyle is the protest. The lifestyle is the protest. You don't need a sign or a picket or nothing. You need to be it. You need to be the change you want to see. What Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. So if you're looking in the mirror and you're not reflecting that change, then that's where you start. There's no picketing sign, no brick thrown out a window, nothing, no torch, no statue that comes down that can do any of those things. It's you got to be the change. You have to do it every day, not just one time. You didn't sign the petition and you're done. It's a lifestyle change, and that's where we're at on the planet Earth right now. You choose. It's either life or death, Rastafari or war. It's your choice. You know what I mean? What did Bill Mollison say? Bill Mollison, the founder of the permaculture movement, he has a quote, and he says, this is not the exact quote, but it's paraphrased, and he's saying that what is a basically, he says, what is an activist or a protester that doesn't have their own garden? He's saying that that's futile. You know, he's saying that the highest form of protest and activism is farming.
because then you have,
that's what he said.
then you're sovereign, and you don't, you know, you're not subject to, you know,
Independent
shortages, you know, immune problems. You may be in the city, you know, maybe you live in an apartment, you can still grow some food in some pots. You know, you can still connect in with wild foods in your area. You can still, you know, find people who grow food and support, you know, but find some.
Exactly. Drive 10 miles and go volunteer on a farm, and get your hands in the soil, get inoculated. You know, thousands of dollars in supplements can be.
we lost him for a minute again. But here he is.
Sorry about that, man. Bush connection. But yeah, all those supplements could be, you know, one day on a farm, you got your probiotic input. You know, you ate a carrot with some dirt on it. You got fingernails in the soil. You know, they're selling highly fertile dirt in pill form now as a way to re-inoculate your gut. You know, so these things are real, man. We need to tap back into what it means to be a human being, and stop trying to think that the artificial Neuralink from Elon Musk is the future. That's not the future. That's destruction. The future is actually returning to the past and doing it even better and more intelligently, because of all these years we had to build intelligence. Man, you got to realize we've been usurped as a human race. All of our technology of I've been listening to this podcast today. Just go look up the world fairs. The world fairs, they had gigantic buildings like Roman Colosseums built. They said they built them in 2 months. And then they said they took them all down and destroyed them. That's why they're not there anymore. So we got to really tap in and realize, like, as a human race, we were way more advanced than we are now. And we got to think, why is that? You know, at these world fairs, they would fly in Hawaiians and fly in Native Americans. They had Native Americans eat dogs in front of rich white people as part of a fair expo. You know, so my point is, they're trying to shape culture through these fairs to be that Victorian European high society was the pinnacle of the human race, and all of our indigenous knowledge and all of our original culture of human beings was then put on the back burner. Study these world fairs, man. You'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind what they've done to the human race. We have technology so far beyond what we're experiencing right now. It's disgusting to realize how we're being held back by the powers to be.
It's the whole example of Tesla, that one person, you know, that's like a pop star sort of in the, you know, under.
Yeah, they had at this world fair, they had Edison, who was basically usurping Tesla's knowledge at the time. They had him electrocute an elephant to show him that about the new technology of electricity. And he was trying to show this as why he was that much smarter than Tesla, because Tesla's AC/DC current thing wasn't safe. It could kill people. Do you know Edison pulled the first trigger on the first man in the electric chair to die by electrocution? This is the hidden history that we don't get told, and then we wonder why the world is the way it is. We should be living in complete harmony with the earth. We have all the technology. We could still be living the lifestyles we live today, but cleaner, higher grade, good food, no disease. We can do that. We have that as a human race, but we've been sold that we're a bunch of Neanderthal idiots that can't fend for themselves, and we need our benevolent leaders to dictate what it is to be healthy, what it is that we should be doing on a daily basis, and whatnot. So it's really about self-sovereignty again. And I can't stress that enough. We need to get back to self-sovereignty. And once you have responsibility for yourself, you're going to want the information to take care of yourself. And you won't rely on handouts anymore. And the handouts are the worst. If you can avoid it, by all means, never take money from the government. That's another piece of advice I have. If you can avoid it, I understand there's single mothers. I understand people have been put out of their jobs by a fake virus called COVID, but you might want to censor that, or else they might censor your YouTube, but you need to take self-responsibility, and it's essential.
I feel you, brother. This has been the crux of my heart for the last 10 years or more, is to gain this in my own self, and the importance of that to me was paramount. I needed it to recover my health, from being abusive to myself in my college years and before, and coming out of that death culture.
That is correct.
And through the medicine plants like cannabis, that instructed me and guided me, and so this is the thing of like, let's get on, to our own inner guidance. We are the leaders. We are the solution. It's not coming from somewhere else. It's not coming from, these leaders, these so-called leaders, we are the leaders. We're really it. And now is the time to activate. Now we can take control and things into our hands with simple things like taking care of your own health and wellness, and taking care of the health of land and or other people, just anything. Take care of life. Take care of life.
Yeah, man. I think this whole scamdemic really made at least the conscious people that much more conscious, and maybe some people that were asleep might actually be cracking an eye open. But I feel that this coming time, like in the next couple of years or so, it could go two ways. It's either we're going to advance as a human race and figure out the truth of what our past and our history was, and that we actually are pyramid builders, that we actually are, we can tap into the geomancy of the earth for positive reasons. The cymatics that you mentioned, we could levitate stone with vibration. Like, we're going to tap back into these realities, because I feel a lot of them have had their day of hiding, as something happened in 2020 also, where a lot of information that was once hidden, say in the vaults of the Vatican or whatnot, are starting to be leaked into the world. And I feel that some of the conscious community are getting these downloads, and that's what gives me hope, Bredren. What gives me hope is that we were once a better human race than we are now, and I have strong evidence to support that, besides the indigenous cultures. And we're going to make it back we're going to go forward to that again.
Yes, sir.
We're going to go forward to a new reality again. And that's if, as a human race, we all get on board with love, understanding, health, wealth, clean water. These things need to be important to all of us, not just some of us. And sometimes people wait till they're dead or on their deathbed before they say, oh, maybe I'll be a vegan now. Its time is right now to take responsibility for yourself. Right now, we need to make the lifestyle changes and stop supporting a corrupt system. As soon as enough of us do that, we're going to come up with more solution-based answers to this new reality. And I feel right now this conversation is the seeds of that.
Yes, it's the way I understand things from my research, from my practice with, chronic living. I've, learned to live off just liquids. Been doing that now for 4 years. I've done dry fasts that are 4 days long. I've defied science for myself. There's we are moving back to that. My understanding and study of astrology, also points to that. That we're going back towards the galactic center, which is light. That we are piezoelectric carbon silica crystals, and that we receive.
What do you know? What do you know about the Grand Conjunction coming up here as far as astrology goes? I don't know much about it. I just know that's coming up here in December.
Well, it's the Egyptian 2012. It's the proper 2012, and numerological,
right.
The little flip 2021.
Right.
And
oh wow, yeah.
The whole thing of it's going to be I think a solar eclipse on that day.
Right.
So, I think a solar maximum on that day. There's long been wonder if there's going to be another what's the name for it? Well, it's a EMP pulse event, but they've happened in the past. They could totally wipe out our precious technology. Which would
I hope
to help us to motivate us to move into natural living. This is a must, people. This is how we're going to reclaim our planet, and our sovereignty and our divine right, to health and happiness. This is something that is inalienable to us. This is something that is bestowed by powers greater than, the ones here on earth. And, the stars are moving us, the people are waking up, as you say, more people are moving into, diet and lifestyle changes. More people are hip to understanding the microbiome. More people are understanding that the corruption in the system and the systemic nature of it, how it goes way, way back. This isn't like 10 years old or 100 years old. This is thousands of years old, and this has afflicted everyone on the planet. And this is where we rise to be kings and queens, to be those leaders and own, our right to be happy and to be well. It's simply something we deserve.
100%. And just reminded me too that the Rasta man has been putting this in song form since the 50s, and the indigenous righteous man has been trotting this earth from creation. So it's nothing new under the sun. We have all the tools, we got the knowledge, we got the intelligence, and now it's just about tapping back in. And I would suggest people listen to like a simple Bob Marley album, a simple Steel Pulse album, and just realize that they were talking about these things in 2020 in the 60s and 70s, warning the people, being a beacon of light for the people. So we can't say that we weren't told by our elders of what's going on, and that we had time to make these changes and shifts, because we have been told. But if 2020 speeds it up for you, that's excellent. That's awesome. And so be it. And that's what we need to do, because we need to tap back in. I can't live how it is out there in the Babylon right now for too much longer. I know that for sure. They got children with restricted breathing apparatuses strapped to their face, and it reminds me of a sick, twisted sci-fi movie. And we can't let this continue. We got to do something as a collective, as individuals, something.
Yes, sir, brother. I feel you. I feel your heart, and it's my heart too. It's, I would rather die doing this work. I don't think in that way. I'm gonna live life. And that's infectious. That's something that everybody can get on board with. Everyone wants, good health. Everyone wants a clean environment. Everybody wants beauty, natural beauty around them. That's why everyone plants gardens, even if they have chemicals.
Right. Life, we got to remember, life is for the living, not for the dead, So while you're alive, you got to live. You can't live like you're dead, So like you said, so be it. If that's if I came here to die of I can't, like, so be it. Why are people so fearing this thing? If you've ever dealt with death in your life, like a loved one or someone close to you, you don't have this quite the same fear of not being on the planet as you did before. So it's like, if you could just, what's so important that you can't go outside? Like, how could fear consume you so much that you wouldn't go about your day? You know, you wouldn't go to the beach. You wouldn't enjoy your family for Thanksgiving. How could that be? Like, what urge could make you that fearful? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all got a day that we're going to not be here no more. So what's the fear all about, man? I just don't get it. I'm sorry.
It's that, yeah, it's the thing of, like, once you confront your death, you can more greatly live your life, you know.
Right.
What we're here to do. Right. We're not here to, you know? So, because that's an inevitability. You know, you can prolong it through these practices if you're concerned.
Yeah, true. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, you could live to 500 if you really wanted to. Like, don't get me wrong. You can live as long as you want, truly, with these practices. So don't get me wrong. It's not like we're all just going to keel over and die one day because there's a clock in our body that says so. No. But the flesh is definitely finite to a certain extent. And, you know, without breath, we're just a lump of dirt. So just remember that. Without breath, you're no much different than some soil with microbes eating it, right? So the breath is what gives you life. So the symbology of cutting off your breath, they just took God straight away from you. The breath of life that the creator, the goddess, gave you, the symbology of that mask is they cut you off from life, from breath. Therefore, you're a lump of controllable goo. That's it. That's what they want you to be. A conformist, controllable goo ball.
With my practice with meditation and prana, I've learned the breath is the highest medicine, higher than any other one. And the highest,
100%.
The straightest, I gotta turn my light on. It's like getting real dark. But
you guys are getting that early nights over there, huh?
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's that season. It's we're in winter. You know, this is there's sun outside. So
cool, Brad.
Yeah,
man, and that winter time too, the time to hunker down and reflect. You know, to go inward. You know, these are crucial. Pay attention to the seasons. That's part of man too. You know, the stars, the seasons, the signs, this is all us. You know, we're like a universe. You know, I said Krishna opened his mouth and there was the universe. You know what I mean? Like, that's you, man. That's you, you know? So yeah, let's be that Christ man. Let's be that Christ man, you know, that Krishna consciousness, you know? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not live in love, light, have healthy food, high vibration, beautiful children, man, woman, and child, unity, strength, health? Why not? It sounds good to me.
My plan.
Yes, Yes, Jesse. Respect, brother.
Respect, my friend. I love you, my man. I just
love you too, bro.
The vibration. I appreciate your work. You're a serious leader. You ain't taking no shit. I appreciate that.
Yeah, each one teach one, man. I'm just another guy. I'm just another microbe. You know what I mean? So each one teach one. I just want everyone to step up and start being leaders and mentors. And, you know, if you're a youth looking to be a handy worker, a hand on a farm, if you're an elder looking to disseminate ancient wisdom and truth to the youth, you know, if you're a musician, to contribute your musical talent to the world. Everyone's born with a gift, man. Exactly. And if you're struggling in life, if you don't understand like what you should be doing, or maybe you're young coming into your adulthood and you're searching, what are you good at? Like what things do you do that you excel at, or that someone says, hey, you're good at that, or this makes me feel good when I do it, or I'm naturally attracted to that. That's your calling, brethren, sister. That's what you need to be doing. So each and every one of us can just tap right back into our purpose, which is what? To fulfill our destiny on earth, you know? So like, let's just do this. People trying to call me. All right. Yes, I. No, I'm just ranting, but yeah, man.
I guess, we'll leave it at that. I could, like you said, I could keep this going. Like I could dig in with you more on KNF and everything, but I got to also get to some farm chores before the light fades fully. And I know you got
yes, I.
To, we're actual working men. We're not just talking men. So, we want to encourage.
Yeah, man. True.
So we appreciate every one of you, showing up, to even consider these thoughts. I hope that this ended up being something that you can take something from and apply into your life, and actually, be the change, as my brethren said. It's like, this is our future, but we have to grasp it. We can't just like expect it to fall into our laps. We can have this incredible greatness of the future vision, like he was saying, from the past, levitation, making pyramids, prana, everyone on prana, this is what I see us naturally moving towards. We've had these changes in the Schumann resonance, the vibration of the earth, changes in the sun, the cymatics, like he was saying. We are moving towards this. It's actually going to be like falling off a log. We can't really do otherwise, because Jah has ordained this. And this is one more point I'll put about, even that word Jah, Jehovah is the amalgamation of earth, wind, fire, and water. So we are earth, wind, fire, and water. We need that breath. We need the good food of the earth, or the microbes of the earth. We need the good water, and we need the fire of the sun. And so, this is an inevitability for us, but we have to, let's step into it. Let's use intention, and let's make a new world. So
yes, I, elemental man. And next time we link up, if you got anything specific, let me know. And also, just a quick disclaimer, no disrespect to anybody. If any of the words I used or the names or anything are offensive to you, please just take it into your mind, into your intelligence. You can replace some of those words with ones that are more comfortable for you, but it's really the points that matter. And no disrespect to anyone. It's all love. It's all coming from love and from my understanding of how this realm exists, so just, that's a little disclaimer. And if you do want to do this again, Brother Jesse, I'm up for it. And if it helps benefit people, I'm up for it. If you have specific questions about KNF, cannabis, Rastafari, any of those things, we can talk about.
I would definitely like that, brother. I would like to get information to people so that they can really start to, there you are again. I was gonna say, yes, man.
So I
do that. I'd like to, delve into, KNF and, permaculture and Untitled diet and herbs and everything. We can share this, love vibration with the people and get them informed, educated, and give them tools, so that we can just do this. Let's just do this. You know what I mean? So
yeah, instituteofnaturalfarming.com or the Institute of Natural Farming YouTube channel has lectures and presentations, and also live farm videos. And I'm also going to be uploading tons of content coming up. We have 5 different interviews we did with local farmers and their lifestyles, and we're going to be presenting like 10-minute mini documentaries about them. I have 2 on-site farm locations that we changed from conventional to Korean natural farming that we're going to be doing some short videos of and putting them up there. So yeah, stay tuned to the YouTube channel, Instagram at Institute of Natural Farming. And of course, my mother business, or my original business that I started when I was a teenager, is Conscious Rhythm Records. So at Conscious Rhythms on Instagram, if you want more of the, I guess, truth-seeking, non-apologetic information.
right on.
Yes, I
appreciate, love you so much. Thank you.
soldier in Jah Army. Keep up your good work. Keep up your strong heart. Let's do this.
One love, man. Namaste.
Namaste. Be well.
Far I live. Bless, Jesse.